Good morning students, welcome back. This is a new lecture in the series of chapter Simple Harmonic Motion. Till now we have discussed several concepts related to simple harmonic motion, and in the last class we saw one of the examples of a system which executes simple harmonic motion and which was spring block system, and then we discussed the various combinations of springs, series and parallel combinations. So now after discussing that, today in this class we are going to discuss another new topic which is angular SHM. So please write down the heading angular SHM. So till now we were actually discussing about the linear simple harmonic motion. So as I told you that in this acronym SHM, S stands for simple, H stands for harmonic and M stands for motion. So what do we mean by simple? Here the word simple means that the motion is rectilinear or the motion is in a straight line. So the motion was very simple, which is motion in a straight line. And then we discussed about harmonic motion, which is periodic motion, and then we discussed about motion. So till now the SHM of a system was having linear displacement. So what do we mean by angular SHM? Angular SHM is nothing but an angular version of SHM. So please write down the definition. Angular SHM. Angular SHM is the angular version of SHM. Angular SHM is the angular version of SHM. So now here what will happen? Instead of having linear displacement, the system will be having angular displacement. So all the concepts and all the formulas that we derive for the linear SHM, they can also be used for angular SHM by making analogies. So instead of linear displacement, here you will have angular displacement. So we have to just make analogy, and all those formulas and concepts can be rewritten for angular SHM. So inside angular SHM, the first thing that we are going to discuss is the condition for angular SHM. So please write down condition for angular SHM. Condition for angular SHM. So what should be the condition for a particle or a body to execute angular SHM? So till now we have learned what was the condition for a particle for performing linear SHM. It was A is equal to minus omega square x, where A is acceleration of the particle at any instant, right? And x is the displacement from the mean position, and omega is angular frequency. And this negative sign indicates that acceleration of the particle is always towards its mean position. We have discussed this and we know it very well, right? So now I want to derive a condition for angular SHM. And just now I told you that all the formulas can be rewritten for angular SHM by making analogy. So in linear displacement or in linear motion, we write acceleration as A. So in angular or circular or any motion, angular motion, this A acceleration will be replaced by alpha, which is called as angular acceleration. So alpha will be equal to this minus omega square will remain constant because this is angular frequency, and x is linear displacement. So instead of linear displacement, we will have now angular displacement, right? So this is your condition for a particle to perform angular SHM or angular simple harmonic motion, right? So if a particle is obeying this condition, only then it will be said to perform angular SHM, otherwise no. So if I ask you what is the example of angular SHM? Simple pendulum. Simple pendulum is a very common example of angular SHM performing this angular simple harmonic motion, right? So now let us discuss about simple pendulum. So please write down the heading simple pendulum, and we will see how angular SHM. So please write on the heading simple pendulum. So what is simple pendulum? I hope you all know that it has a light, inextensible or massless string, and at one end of the string a bob which is a mass, right? So there is a bob of mass m attached to its other end, right? The first end may be fixed or it may be moving. So for now we will be considering that in our simple pendulum, one end of the string is fixed somewhere, fixed to some point, and the other end of the string is connected to a bob of mass m, right? So our simple pendulum looks like this. This is suppose a ceiling, and to this end which is fixed, this end is fixed, and one end of the string is attached to this ceiling or the fixed point, and the other end of the string is connected to a bob of mass m, and this string is inextensible and massless, that means it is an ideal string, right? So this is our simple pendulum. So now if I hold this bob and if I take this here and if I release it, then what will happen? It will perform motion like this. So now let us see whether this motion of simple pendulum will be angular SHM or not. So I am holding this bob, I am taking this slightly here towards right, and then I release it, so it starts performing motion like this, and we want to know whether it will perform angular SHM or not, right? So now let us discuss here the motion of this simple pendulum, right? So I am drawing the figure. So, and one more thing, that this position of the simple pendulum, if you see at this position, all the forces on it will be balanced. See, there will be tension in this string which will act upwards, and the mass m of the bob will be acting downwards, right? So this is equal to mg, and here E will be equal to mg. So because here the net force acting on the bob is 0, and therefore this position will be called as equilibrium position, right? So this is called as mean position or equilibrium position. Clear? So this is our equilibrium position or mean position. Now this is, I am drawing it as mean position or equilibrium position. I hope you understand that. Now I am taking this bob towards right, something like this. Right, I took it here, and this is my bob of mass m. Suppose this angle is, let's say theta. Let's say this angle is theta. Now I have taken this bob here, and now if I release it, it will perform motion like this. We will consider that there is no air resistance or friction of any kind, and therefore the energy of the bob will remain conserved. The work that I have done in bringing this bob here, it will be stored in the form of potential energy of the bob, and when I release it, its potential energy will start converting into the kinetic energy, and at this point the entire energy of the bob will be converted into the kinetic energy, right? And it will perform motion like this, and its energy will get convertible into potential energy and kinetic energy, right? So its energy will always remain constant, that you need to know, right? Now suppose I have taken this bob here. Now I have taken this bob here, and now I am releasing it, and I want to see whether it will perform angular SHM or not. So now let us draw the free body diagram of this bob to know what are all the forces that are acting on this bob, right? So there will be a force mg which acts downwards. So this is force mg, right? And there will be a tension in the string which acts like this. So only these two forces will be acting. One is this mg and the other one is this tension. Now because the motion of the bob will be like this, okay? It will be like this on this path. So that means it is performing some angular movement. Means it is subtending some angle at this fixed point, right? So now I want to know what are the forces, because this is performing some angular movement, so there must be some torque acting on it, right? We have learned this in our previous chapters, right? Because it is performing some angular movement, so it must be having some torque. Because कोई भी बॉडी किसी एंगल को तो तभी कवर कर सकती है जब वो उसके ऊपर कोई टॉर्क लग रहा हो, सो दैट मींस देयर मस्ट बी सम टॉर्क एक्टिंग ऑन दिस बॉल, राइट? एंड टॉर्क कहां से आएगा? इट विल कम, यानी कि इस बॉडी पे कोई फोर्स लग रहा होगा, दैट मींस तभी उस पे टॉर्क आ सकता है, राइट? So if there is a torque on a body, there will be definitely some force acting on it. And here are the two forces. These are the two forces that are acting on the ball. One is this tension T, and the other one is this gravitational force mg. Right? So these two forces must be generating the torque. So अब हमें देखना है कि what are the torque produced due to these forces. Right? So now let us see torque due to this tension T. We denote torque by the symbol tau, and because this is torque of tension, so I am writing T in the subscript, right? So what will be the torque due to this tension T? So this body is performing this angular motion about this point. So axis of rotation will be like this. You will be needing to know some of the basic concepts related to rotational motion, right? I am explaining all of these here, but it will be helpful if you already know those concepts, right? So the axis of rotation will be like this, right? This will be the axis of rotation coming out of the board. So now, if we want to see the torque due to this tension T, what we need? What is the formula for torque? Force into perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation. So here T is the force, right? And what is its perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation? So this is the line of action of tension force, right? This is that means along this line the tension force is acting. This is line of force, action of force, right? This is line of action, right? So this is called as line of action of tension force, right? So now the axis of rotation is like this coming out of the board, and because this tension, this line of action is touching this point, that means it is touching the axis of rotation. So what will be the perpendicular distance between these two? It will be 0, because this line of action is touching the axis of rotation. So perpendicular distance or any distance between them will be 0. So torque due to tension T will be equal to 0. So it is 0. We are right. And now let us see the tension due to the torque due to this force mg. So torque due to this force mg or gravitational force. So it will be force into perpendicular distance again. So it will be forces here mg. And what will be the perpendicular distance between the line of action of this force and the axis of rotation? See, this is the line of action of force mg, and the axis of rotation is like this. So this distance will be the perpendicular distance between these two. So can you tell me that this distance, let's say the length of the string is L. Let us suppose the length of the string is L. Let me also write here. The length is L and the mass of the bob is M. So if we assume that this length is L, then can you tell me this length using trigonometry? We can use this triangle, right? And if this is L, this length will be L cos theta, and this line will be L sin theta. So it will be L sin theta and it will be L cos theta, right? So this is L cos theta and this is L sin theta. So now torque due to this mg will be mg, force mg into perpendicular distance, which is L sin theta. So we write here L sin theta. So mg force, right? So tau net यानी कि net torque acting on this ball will be equal to torque due to this tension force plus torque due to this mg force, and because torque due to tension force is 0, so tau net will be equal to mgl sin theta. mgl sin theta, right? So this is the net torque that is acting on the ball, and this torque is responsible for this angular motion of this ball, right? Now we know one formula from rotational motion itself. Tau is equal to I alpha. I hope you remember this formula, where tau is torque, I is moment of inertia, and alpha is your angular acceleration, because we have to relate angular acceleration with theta. So I'll replace this tau with I alpha so that I get a term of alpha here, right? So now I'm going to erase this and I will continue the derivation here, right? So we are erasing this. If you haven't noted down this, please reverse the video and note this down, right? So now tau net is equal to mgl sin theta, and tau net can be written as I alpha is equal to mgl sin theta. So we have I alpha is equal to mgl sin theta. Now I is moment of inertia of this ball. So can you tell me, if this is the axis of rotation and this is a mass of, and this is a body of mass m performing angular motion, then what will be the moment of inertia of this mass? It will be mr square, and here r is equal to this length of the string, which is L. So moment of inertia of this ball will be equal to ml square. I hope you know that. So I will replace this I with ml square multiplied by alpha is equal to mgl sin theta, right? Now we can see that ml and ml from here will get cancelled out, and here we will have alpha l is equal to g sin theta, right? So this is alpha l is equal to g sin theta, or you can write alpha is equal to g upon L sin theta. And what is the condition for angular acceleration? The condition for angular acceleration is that alpha should be equal to minus omega square theta. So can you tell me, is this equation the equation corresponding to the angular acceleration? Is this equation corresponds to the general equation for condition of angular acceleration? No, because alpha here is directly proportional to sin theta. G and L are already constant, so it is equivalent to omega square. चलो fine, ठीक है? But here alpha is directly proportional to sin theta. Here alpha is not proportional to theta. Instead, here alpha is directly proportional to sine of the angle of this, which this ball makes with the line of equilibrium position. So here alpha is directly proportional to sin theta, but here alpha is not directly proportional to theta. So this equation is not the equation of SHM, right? However, it can be the equation of SHM if theta is very small, right? Why I am saying this? So suppose if theta is very small, then sin theta can be approximately written as theta. I hope you know this. If theta is very small, then sin theta can be approximately written as theta. So if this condition is true, that means if theta is small, then this equation can be written as alpha is equal to g upon L into theta. Yes. Now this equation corresponds to this general equation for condition of angular SHM. So that means the motion of a simple right? For large values of theta, the motion will not be simple harmonic motion. Only for small values of theta, the motion of the simple pendulum will be simple harmonic motion as cleared by this. And please do not confuse this with this negative sign, because we have already taken all the directions into consideration. So we are checking here only the magnitude as we did in linear SHM, right? So alpha is equal to G upon L theta. This equation corresponds to the general equation for condition of angular SHM, and therefore the motion of simple pendulum is simple harmonic motion if and only if this value of theta is very small. Please note this down very carefully, and then we shall discuss the time period for this simple pendulum. Please note this down, and then we shall see the time period for this simple pendulum. I hope we have noted this down. So now let us discuss the time period for a simple pendulum. So if we compare these two equations, you can see that omega square is equal to G by L. On comparing these two equations, we will have omega square is equal to G upon L, right? And what is so from here omega will be root G by L, right? So omega will be root G upon L, right? And what is omega? Omega is 2 pi by T. So omega can be written as 2 pi by T is equal to under root of G upon L, and from here T will become out to be 2 pi will be as it is, since T will go on RHS, and this root L will come here in root G, and root G will go down. So from here T will be 2 pi under root of L upon G. So this is the time period for simple pendulum. Right? Please note this down. This is the time period of simple pendulum. Please note this down, and then we shall take our discussion forward. So I hope that we have noted this down by pausing the video. So now this is the time period for simple pendulum, which is T equal to 2 pi under root of L by G. So you can see that the time period of a simple pendulum for small angular displacement theta is only depending upon the length of the string, right, and the value of G. And one important thing you need to note here is that this G is the net value of acceleration that is acting on the ball. For example, if the lift is accelerating upwards or the lift is accelerating downwards, then if you replace this value of G with the effective value of acceleration acting on the ball, then if you substitute that value here, then you will get the time period for that simple pendulum here, right? So you need to keep this thing in mind, that here you always need to substitute the effective value of G. In this case, when the suspension point or the axis of rotation is fixed, then the effective value of G is G itself. So here in our derivation, this comes out to be G, but if this simple pendulum is placed in a lift which is accelerating upwards or accelerating downwards, then in that case you need to see what is the effective value of acceleration, and then you need to substitute that value here to get the correct time period of the simple pendulum, right? So I hope you have noted this down, and now let us discuss one more application or one more type of angular SHM when this simple pendulum is placed in a horizontally accelerating car. So please write down the heading simple pendulum in a horizontally accelerating car. in a horizontally accelerating car. So let's say there is a car or a truck or any vehicle which is moving in horizontal direction, right? Like on a straight road, with acceleration, and a simple pendulum is pending inside that truck or car. So we need to calculate the time period of that simple pendulum. So let's say this is a car. Or a truck, whatever you say, whatever you want to say. So this is a simple pendulum which is hanging inside. Let's say the length of the spring is L and the mass of bob is M, and this car is at rest. Suppose this is a car which is at rest, so and a simple pendulum is hanging inside the car like this. So this will be the equilibrium position, right, of the simple pendulum, because all the forces on it will be balanced because the car is at rest. Now what if this car starts accelerating towards right, with some constant acceleration A, then what will be the equilibrium position of the simple pendulum? Will it be the same or it will change? Right? Are you getting my question? Now suppose this car starts accelerating with some constant acceleration A. So I want to know, will the equilibrium position of the simple pendulum will change or it will remain constant? So let us analyze that, and then we shall answer this question, right? So again I am drawing this car. So let's say now the simple pendulum makes an angle of theta with the vertical. So this car is now accelerating towards right with some constant acceleration A, and it makes an angle theta with the vertical. So this is the picture when car starts accelerating. I am erasing this. So now let us draw the free body diagram of this ball, right? What will be the forces acting on this? Suppose, because now this system is now accelerating, so we need to choose a frame of reference. So let's say the observer is sitting inside this car itself. Okay? So with respect to this observer, we will now draw the FBD of this ball. So if the observer is sitting in the car itself, so uska frame kaisa hua? His frame will be inertial or non-inertial. I hope you know about inertial frame of reference and non-inertial frame of reference. It is discussed in Newton's law of motion, right? So what is inertial frame of reference? The non-accelerated frame of reference is called as inertial frame of reference, and what is non-inertial frame of reference? Accelerated frame of reference is called as non-inertial frame of reference. And because the observer is sitting in a car which is accelerating, so this frame will be called as non-inertial frame of reference. So this is non-inertial frame of reference. So if we are drawing the FPD of this bob in a non-inertial frame of reference, we will have to make use of pseudo force. We will be applying one pseudo force on this body of which we are drawing the FPD. And what is the pseudo force? Mass of the body multiplied by the minus of acceleration of the system. If the system is accelerating towards right, its pseudo force will act in the backward direction. I hope you know these concepts, right? So if the mass of ball is m and if the system is accelerating towards right with acceleration a, so pseudo force equal to ma will act in the backward direction like this. So this is ma, pseudo force, and there will be a tension in the spring. So this is tension, and there will be a gravitational force mg acting in the downward direction. So these are the three forces. Let me draw these three forces here. This is this point, center of mass. This is tension T. This is mg, and this is ma. And because this angle is theta, so this angle will also be theta, alternate angles. So this angle will be theta. Now what we can do, we can resolve this tension force into two components like this. This is one component and this is another component. So towards theta angle, the component will be d cos theta, and away from theta angle will be t sin theta, right? So now for equilibrium position, all the forces in all the directions must be balanced. In horizontal direction also the forces must be balanced, and in vertical direction also the forces must be balanced. So we must have t sin theta is equal to ma. This is for